Tell me about the song Bulletproof, writing the song, how the actual creation of the song came about, because that was your first number one single.
Yeah.
So how did, did it feel like a number one song as it was being created?
No. Do you know what? No, it didn't. I mean, it felt, I'm not saying that we didn't, it was one of my most favourite songs to record. I mean, when we wrote it, it was completely different. It was on the guitar. And then obviously as Roux sort of began to develop, it became what it is now. And I think at the time though, I saw that as like a really kind of under the surface tune. One that, one of those ones that you talk about at a party and go, have you heard that? And it's one that gets played at parties but probably isn't massive, do you know what I mean? Or not like at number 2 for 4 or 5 weeks or however long it was. But it was, all the songs were exciting to record, but it didn't feel like that. Bulletproof much more felt like that. I mean, it was instant, I think the minute we wrote the chorus we were like, something's happened, something's changed in our writing and something's got better, it's becoming more and more sort of crossover.
So the day you get your number one record, the first number one, suddenly do you feel like a pop star at that point?
In the textbook way, yeah. I don't. Well, what does a pop star feel like? It's sort of so different for everyone. It's not something I want to live up to in my life, apart from in the work sense, in the work area. Fame isn't something I'm interested in, or that the taster that I've had of it is not something I particularly enjoy or get high from. A lot of people do, but I tend to get really uncomfortable, quite shy, quite within myself, and then I just sort of feel a bit intruded. It feels like your life is intruded upon.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about it because you enjoy the job so much, so you're going to keep working because the kick I get out of work is immense. But that doesn't at all interest me in any way.
But I guess in the UK, I don't mean to say it's so easy to become a celebrity, but so many people can become a celebrity very quickly.
Yeah.
Do you get treated differently, by the press, by the media, by the tabloids, now that you've had a few hits under your belt?
Well, I never got talked about in those papers before I had a hit anyway, because they won't bother writing about you. So it's sort of difficult to know whether it's changed or not. I think those kind of people, those kind of mediums of press, those particular publications need an immense amount of success in order for them to back you, really. On a kind of Beyonce level, or an immense amount, like bad luck, and you have to be like a crack addict and stuff. It's either sort of that, or you have to be immensely famous or just really average. But to write about you, it's really weird, isn't it?
I guess you got a bit of a peek into celebrity at an early stage in life, because your mum is an actress, isn't she?
Yeah, she is, yeah. But I don't, again, never something I liked. It's like, she's mum, leave her alone. So I just didn't like it either then. So
did she have trouble with UK press?
No, not with press. I just didn't like walking down the street and people recognising her. Sort of made her feel like you were sharing her or something. Didn't like it.
Well, now she gets to walk down the street and people recognise you.
I know. I think she finds that really odd.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would, wouldn't you?
So were you a fan of the Bill? Did you watch your mum on TV in the show?
No, I never watched her on TV because it wasn't like watching my mum, obviously. It's like watching somebody else. And, I think, I used to watch if there was a really big episode coming up, or I did live episodes a couple of times, which is actually a lot of fun. We used to go to the studio and you could all hear it going on outside because it was completely live, and that was quite cool. Yeah. And there was one episode where a house got a petrol bomb in it or something, and she nearly died and the cat died, and it was just actually really. I was about 8, and I found it really disturbing because it was like watching your mum be in a fire, and it was. When I really didn't like it at all, and it was No, it's not my thing. Really not my thing to watch. But she's not in it anymore. But yeah, it was never really. We never watched it at home.
Well, let's get back onto the album and the current song, "I'm Not Your Toy."
Yes.
When did that come about?
I think that was one of the last songs we wrote on the record. We wrote that after Bulletproof and before Cover My Eyes. And it was some of the chords or the melody or something, I can't really remember, came from an old song called Happy that I had that I wrote away from Ben that I just didn't like anymore. Ben liked it more than I did. He said we should use some of it and I always hated it. And we used some of that and then changed the chorus and stuff, and then it became "I'm Not Your Toy," and it was the weirdest song to write. I think from start to finish it took like 2 hours or something. Just every single part that you hear in it now, beats, like synths, everything, bass, it's all just completely done. I mean, not produced, but it just all came out. It was so weird. It's a really weird experience.
And again, did it feel like a single to you at the time?
It's weird. Sometimes everything feels like a single the first time you write it. You know, because you get really excited, you get overexcited, and you're like, "Oh, wicked!" And a month later, you're like, "That's really not, it's really not a single." But I suppose it's better to think that than when you write it than think, "Oh, it's kind of average," because it's only bound to only get more and more average to you from that point onwards. So it's just the way it is, though.
Yeah. What about "As If by Magic"? Tell us about that one.
That's one of my least favourite tracks on the album, I think. I don't know why. I think it works well on the album, but because at the moment the only experience I have of the album is playing on stage, that really just doesn't work live that well. I think unless you've got really hardcore fans there, and they always want to hear it and it always gets a cheer, but it definitely makes the set drop in energy. It's probably one of my least favourite tracks to play live, actually. But again, that one was just about, I think it was just about being quite stoned, actually. Didn't really mean for it to be, but it was sort of about that and the feeling, that sensation when you think about someone that you're in a routine of thinking about someone that you like, usually that you can't have, it's just a fantasy thing. And you continue to just have these thoughts and scenarios in your head about them, and you keep thinking about them, and then you're just sort of in a routine of always thinking about that when you're bored or whatever, and just sort of like, someone, that person that you just think about that's in the back of your mind. I think everyone's got one. And then you realise one day, actually, I don't even really like you. I don't like you. You're annoying. You're not even attractive. And no, why was I so obsessed with you for so long? And you just realise it's gone, and it's like, it's a weight lifted. And then you get bored again and you try and fancy someone else, but yeah.
All right. Well, just before you head off, I know there's a story to that necklace you've got.
There is.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say this jacket. I was like, trust me, there isn't.
Tell us about the necklace, because it's designed by an Australian.
It is. It's designed by a woman called Sylvie Marcovino, who I really, really wanted to come to one of my gigs. I think she was going to be in Sydney, but I emailed her a bit too late, I think. She didn't really know I was here, but she's brilliant, and she makes these cameos, and she does not different colours, but she does like different variations of black and gold and cream. And I stole it off a stylist, and now I have like 8 of them, and I wear it every day of my life, and I love it.
Well, you're great publicity for her.
I know. It's alright, because I use like a vague sort of like similar imagery in my quite similar in my merchandising, so she's sort of doing me a favour as well.
Yeah. Well, Ellie, it's been good to catch up with you, and welcome to Australia, and
Thank
welcome
you.
back soon.
Thank you very much.